Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a splendid reissue in a box of the complete Glazunov string quartets and music for string quartets, because there's more than just string quartets. And we'll talk about that in a minute. I've been talking about Glazunov fairly often recently. We did the Seasons and the Violin Concerto, and we just did Raymonda in Road Music, which is just fabulous. It's an amazing ballet. And we've talked about the symphonies. Glazunov as a symphonist remains somewhat controversial. He wrote some beautiful symphonies. The music, of course, is always lovely. It really is. But is it symphonic in the sense of having that sense of inexorable forward impetus and development and striving and strife and turmoil and, well, it's a matter of opinion. I think some of the symphonies are fantastic. I think some of them are just attractive. They're all pretty. They're all easily worth listening to. But, are they Tchaikovsky's? No. Rachmaninoff's? Not really. So, there you go. However, and this is the interesting thing, the string quartets are really, really good. Glazunov was one of those composers who actually is much better than you think he'd be in chamber music. Especially because, Russian composers aren't known for writing chamber music, number one. And number two, the string quartet particularly is supposed to be, this very, very profound, deep intellectual exercise. Brahms wrote 25 of them and destroyed all except 3, and those 3 aren't even so hot, some people have a real nervous breakdown when it came to writing string quartets. Glazunov didn't. It seemed to be a very natural mode of expression for him. And that's not surprising. It really isn't. The reason is because he was such an unbelievably gifted musician, gifted in the ability to manipulate the materials of music, in the technical aspect of writing. Just writing. His orchestration is impeccable. He had this wonderful ability. And so when it came to writing string quartets, as long as you're not expecting late Beethoven, and who does, except for late Beethoven, he was absolutely at home. It seems he felt very, very comfortable doing it. And the quartets have some nicknames and things here. Let's take a look. Number 3 is the Quatuor Slav. It has lots of Russian folk things in it and whatnot. It's lots of fun to listen to. And there are, let me see how many there are. I think there are 7. Yes, there are 7 string quartets. They're all between about, 22 and let's see what we got here, about 30 minutes long, 33 minutes. The longest, I think, here is number 4. There's an elegy for strings, which is quite lovely. There's a fabulous suite, Opus 35. That's the longest thing here. It's 35 minutes long, and let me tell you what it consists of, because it's really fun. It would make a wonderful, blow-up serenade for strings type piece, There's an andante and a fugue, then a scherzo, then a movement called Orientale, and then a theme and variations, and finally a waltz. And these are big movements. It's really seriously gorgeous. And just as great, aside from the suite, there's a piece called 5 Novelettes for string quartet. And these are marked a la Spagnola. You've got a Spanish one. And then Oriental, another Asian, exotic one. And then an Interludium in Modo Antico, a interlude in the ancient style, a waltz. And then finally, Al Ungherese, a Hungarian finale. It's just more fun than you have any right to have. Now, this is great music by any stretch of the imagination, colorful and enchanting. And, how many, colorful and enchanting things for string quartet can you think about? Now, the actual quartets, aside from the Slavic one, are in a serious quartet style. They could sound somewhat Brahmsian, perhaps, maybe a little less, a little more relaxed than Brahms is. They're not as close-knit contrapuntally. They all have their light moments. The ballet is never far away from Glazunov's music, no matter what it's written for, but they are wholly lovely. Truly, truly beautiful. There's another composer who's similar to Glazunov in this respect, I was thinking of, and that's Stanford. Stanford, he has his, major boosters, of course, especially in the UK. But he was really good at everything that was not a symphony, except for his Requiem, which is even more horrible. But his symphonies are good, like Glazanov's. Some of them are really, really attractive. But you can tell when he was not forced to be grandiose or make a major statement, he was happier. His program music is wonderful. These Irish rhapsodies, those things are fantastic. And his string quartets are very, very fine. Most of his chamber music is very good. I just think he was more comfortable working with smaller forces, and in some respects, so was Glazunov, at least as compared to the need to be a symphonist. There is something about it. It's the steps of Beethoven or whoever. I don't know if that's the issue. But there were expectations, obviously, for big orchestral works like symphonies that people didn't have in the more intimate environment of a chamber ensemble and the forum in which chamber music was played, which was, of course, in those days domestically for the most part. And I just get the sense that Glazunov was extremely happy writing this music. Anyway, this set is 4 CDs. It's with the Utrecht String Quartet, which plays quite well, quite beautifully, on the MD&G label. And it's just been re-released. And I'm just very happy that it has been, because MD&G tends to release things in series, but they always start somewhere like in the middle, and then they start to fill it in, and then they start deleting things, and it can be very, very difficult to get a complete series unless you're paying very close attention. So here it is, all together in a box, and I recommend it very, very highly if you're a fan of really good chamber music. It's just good music, and colorful, and interesting, and melodic, and it'll shock you when you realize it was Glazunov. I really think it will. You'll think it was Schubert or Schumann or Brahms, or it won't be exactly any of those people, but it will surprise you. Let me just leave it at that. So keep on listening, friends, and do give this some serious consideration. Please do. That's all I can say. I can only beg. So that's it. See you soon.